The Singapore national team still desperately needs his leadership, for he's probably still the only one in the current national team who can rally the players in times of setbacks, in times of trouble, which currently the national team is facing more troubles than not on the pitch. And it's not because of the national coach, because unfortunately when it comes to our local players, sometimes I think they do need a bit of a kick in the back, and Hariss Harun is the only one in the current squad who is still able to do this. So now moving on to Singapore international captain Hariss Harun, who is currently 33 years old, turning 34 in November. Hariss actually has been a great servant of Singapore football for more than a decade, since he made his national team debut in June 2007 against North Korea at the Old National Stadium. However, it has now reached a stage where actually it's more like Singapore football needs him more than he needs Singapore football, because currently, besides playing professionally as a footballer, he is also a qualified property agent, which currently more than 60% of the full-time Singapore League players also have second jobs because of the high cost of living in this country. Hariss actually in recent years, he actually has shown notable decline in pace, especially when he runs to get the ball, where his covering runs were less than impressive, where occasionally his positioning is questioned, whether he was playing in defensive midfield or as a centre back for the national team. His only notable redeeming quality was the Singapore national team still desperately needs his leadership, for he's probably still the only one in the current national team who can rally the players in times of setbacks, in times of trouble, which currently the national team is facing more troubles than not on the pitch. And it's not because of the national coach, because unfortunately when it comes to our local players, sometimes I think they do need a bit of a kick in the back, and Hariss Harun is the only one in the current squad who is still able to do this. If it comes to other players in the current national team, because there are not many veterans, several of his a lot of other players in his cohort have either retired from professional football, or they are still playing league football but have not been called up with the national team for a while. I think his only national teammate at his age group who just returned to the national team is goalkeeper Izwan Mahmud. But Izwan Mahmud, like Hariss, is also now past his best. So I think that was a reason why JDT actually sold him to Home United, and subsequently which is called the Lion City Sailors in the late 2010s, I think in 2017 or 2018. Hariss' pace has slowed down, as I mentioned. His positioning is not the same as it used to. His tackling also at times had been suspect, but in recent months though, there is a bit of a revival in how Hariss used to be as a player, where he's able to win tackles, he's able to rally his troops, and his positioning has improved a lot. So as far as Hariss is concerned, he's not done as a national team player yet. But also I think he still wants to show that he's able to play at a higher level for at least a few more years before he settles down for club life and a post-playing career in property. So where Hariss is concerned, actually his career could have been a lot better despite his achievements that he has gained, particularly in Johor Darul Takzim. Because when he first emerged as the captain of the national under-16 team in the 2006 AFC under-17 finals in Singapore, he was one of the most promising talents that we had, and he actually eventually went on for a few stints, however overseas stints or trials, but however none of them actually worked out. And I think also because of the heartbreak from these failed overseas trials or stints, that when he was offered one to move to Spain in, I think if I'm not wrong, 14 or I think 14 or 15, I think he quickly returned because it's likely that appetite is not the same there anymore. Obviously, when you're younger, you could push a lot harder, you could overcome setback after setback. But once you are married, once you have kids, or once you are at an older age, there are a few other considerations to think of, and that is where Hariss decides that he wants to settle more into, I think, his own comfort zone, where he wants to venture a new comfort zone outside football, where he does want to look after himself. So essentially, it's now down to Singapore football actually needs him more than he needs